Ever walk into a business meeting and kind of wish you had that extra edge, like that ability to really talk the talk and impress people? Well, today we're going deep on business English. We'll figure out how to sound confident and in the know so you can handle those high-pressure conversations, no sweat.
It's really interesting, actually. It's not just about learning a bunch of fancy words.
Right.
It's more about understanding, like, the subtle things,
Okay.
the unspoken rules of how professionals actually talk to each other and build relationships. Those can make or break a deal. It's kind of like learning a new dance. Every step, every gesture has a purpose.
I like that analogy.
Okay.
Okay, let's break this down.
Okay.
Imagine you're a distributor. You're trying to convince a restaurant owner to buy your gourmet chocolates.
Sounds pretty good already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love chocolate?
Absolutely. But there's a lot more to it than just like, hey, want some chocolate?
Right.
A distributor is like the bridge between the chocolate maker and the businesses selling those chocolates. They're a big part of getting that product out there.
Okay, so there's some strategy involved.
Yeah.
What if these chocolates are imported?
Uh-huh.
I remember hearing about tariffs.
Right.
Do those come into play?
Totally.
Yeah.
Tariffs are basically taxes on goods coming from another country. They can make those imported things pricier.
Oh, yeah.
So our distributor, they need to be ready to explain why these chocolates are worth the extra cost.
Yeah.
They might highlight how like good trade agreements kind of minimize the tariffs impact, making the chocolates, a better option for the restaurant.
Okay, that makes sense. But sometimes it feels like there's so much paperwork involved in these deals. Like, what's the deal with all the red tape?
Ugh, it's a common frustration for sure. Red tape refers to all those like bureaucratic hurdles, all the regulations and procedures that slow things down.
Right.
A smart distributor would point out that like streamlined customs procedures means less red tape,
Okay.
ensuring a smooth and efficient process for the restaurant.
Less hassle for everyone involved. But let's be honest. It's all about the chocolate itself, right? I bet they would use some pretty fancy words to describe these treats.
For sure. The distributor wants to create this image of luxury and elegance. Think like words like exquisite, artisan, decadent, to really make you feel like you're getting something high quality and sophisticated.
Yeah, it makes you feel like you're biting into something really special.
Yeah.
I love how they're combining business with pleasure here.
That's key. That highlights how important building relationships is in business. It's not just a transaction.
Right.
You're connecting with the restaurant owner, making them feel like they're part of something exclusive.
It's that you're in the club vibe.
Exactly.
They might even use a phrase like creme de la creme
Oh, yeah.
to emphasize that these chocolates are the best of the best.
That's a perfect example. Creme de la creme is actually French, but it's become so common in English, and it means the top quality, the very best. It just adds a touch of sophistication and authority.
Fancy. But here's where things get interesting. What if these gourmet chocolates have a surprising ingredient? Let's say haggis.
Haggis, okay.
Yeah.
That's a bold move.
Yeah?
It's traditional Scottish food. But let's just say it might not be for everyone,
Right.
especially if they're not familiar with Scottish food. This is where, being aware of different cultures comes in. Our distributor needs to kind of gauge the restaurant owner's reaction and be ready to explain, the cultural importance of this unique ingredient.
You don't want to scare them off.
Exactly.
It's all about knowing your audience. What if our distributor gets a little too excited to close the deal and starts promising things they can't actually deliver, like super fast delivery times or crazy low prices? Isn't that when they might start cutting corners?
Exactly. Cutting corners implies compromising on quality or ethical standards to do something quickly or cheaply.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll use cheaper ingredients or rush the production process.
That's a slippery slope.
It is. It might seem tempting at first, but it could really hurt their reputation and relationships in the long run.
For sure.
Integrity and high standards are crucial for building trust and lasting success in business.
This has already been so insightful.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm already thinking and speaking more strategically just from this conversation. What else should our listeners keep in mind if they want to really master business English?
It's like building a house. You need the right tools and materials to make a strong foundation. One of the best ways to improve your business English is to immerse yourself in it as much as possible.
So like going to all the business conferences.
Not necessarily, although networking is definitely valuable. You can immerse yourself in simpler ways too, like listen to podcasts or audiobooks about business topics,
Mm-hmm.
watch documentaries or interviews with successful business people.
Okay.
Pay attention to how they use language, the way they structure what they're saying, the words they choose.
That's a good tip. It's like learning without even realizing it, just
Hmm.
absorbing the language naturally. What about like actually practicing speaking?
Yes. Don't be shy about speaking up in meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's just asking a question to clarify something, the more you actually use the language, the more confident you'll become. Find a language partner or join a conversation group
Okay.
to really work on your speaking.
Practice makes perfect, right?
Right.
But I think a lot of people get scared of making mistakes.
It's totally normal to make mistakes, especially when you're learning something new,
Right.
like a new language
Yeah.
or a way of speaking.
Yeah.
See mistakes as chances to learn.
Okay.
Don't let being afraid of messing up hold you back.
You got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. Speaking of breaking things down, could we go over some of the key vocabulary we've talked about?
Sure, we talked about the distributor. They're super important for connecting the manufacturer with the businesses that actually sell the product.
And don't forget about those annoying tariffs, those taxes on imported stuff.
Yeah, they can really change pricing strategies.
For sure.
Then there's red tape. All that paperwork, all those bureaucratic things.
Kind of a real headache.
Right. But hey, those fancy chocolates are worth dealing with a little red tape.
True.
And to describe how great they are, our distributor used words like exquisite, artisan, and decadent.
Ooh, yeah. Makes them sound delicious.
Exactly. And to really drive home that they're the best, there's that French phrase, crème de la crème.
Ooh la la.
But remember, cutting corners can be tempting. But it's super important to keep those ethical standards and build a reputation for quality and honesty.
You got it. Now let's hear from you, our listeners.
What really stood out to you from today's deep dive?
Have you ever come across any of these business terms or situations in your own work?
And most importantly, how are you planning to use these communication skills to reach your goals?
Wow, we covered a lot today. From like international trade stuff to persuasion and how to build relationships. It's pretty amazing how much language matters in business.
It's like having a secret weapon, right? Mastering business English gives you that confidence
Yeah.
and the clarity to communicate well, negotiate strategically, build trust with clients and colleagues.
And it's not just about sounding smart. It's about getting those subtle cues,
Right.
those unspoken rules that can really make or break a deal.
Absolutely.
Remember our chocolate distributor friend?
Yeah.
Their success depends on explaining how good their product is, navigating those tricky regulations, and connecting with potential buyers.
That's all connected.
So it's about having good communication skills, but also really understanding how business works.
Exactly. And the cool thing is, these skills can be used in any industry, any job, like pitching an idea, leading a team, or just getting your point across. Mastering business English gives you a real advantage.
It's like leveling up in the professional world.
For sure. And just like any skill, it takes practice and commitment. The more you use the language of business, the easier it becomes.
So keep listening to those podcasts, reading those articles, and practicing those conversations.
And don't worry about making mistakes. Every mistake is a chance to learn and get better.
Totally. Okay, before we wrap up, let's give our listeners a quick vocabulary boost. We heard some great words and phrases today. You can start using them right away to sound more confident and professional.
Okay, so first we have distributor and manufacturer.
Right.
They're key parts of the supply chain.
Then there's tariffs, those taxes on imported goods.
Yeah, they can really affect pricing strategies.
And red tape.
Ugh, yes. All that bureaucracy, all those procedures that slow things down.
But remember, those delicious chocolates are worth going through a little red tape for.
True. To describe those high-quality products, we use words like exquisite, artisan, and decadent.
Oh, and we can't forget crème de la crème.
Right. The very best.
Love that one. But remember, even though it might be tempting, cutting corners can hurt your reputation in the business world.
Absolutely. Maintaining ethical standards is key.
All right. Quick tip for all the English learners out there. One of the best ways to improve is to find a language partner or join a conversation group.
Practice makes perfect.
Yep.
And talking with others will boost your confidence. You'll feel more comfortable using business English in real life.
Awesome advice. Well, that's it for our deep dive into business English.
We hope you learned some useful things and picked up some practical tips to communicate better in your professional life.
Remember, language is a powerful tool. Use it well and watch your business goals take off.
Now go out there and rock those conversations.